Hey, everybody. What's up, guys? Hello, hello, hello. Hey, guys. What's up? It's Mal Ramsey. It is Saturday. It's a beautiful day. It's like a little chilly outside. And I'm super excited to be here with you guys. I am a vocal coach, if you have no idea who I am. And today I just kind of wanted to talk about, a singing story that's really kind of relevant to me right now, which is that a lot of the singers that I work with think that they are too old to sing. And I want you to go ahead and put that in the chat if you think that that's you. Like, it doesn't matter whether you're 18, 25, 35, 45, 50. And if you feel like, gosh, man, I really want to learn how to sing, but I have no idea whether it's too late for me, go ahead and put that in the chat. Yes, me, whatever. Whatever makes the most sense to you. And what I wanted to talk about today is a student of mine that I think embodies this really, really well. And his name's Dave Stewart. Lovely, lovely guy. Really, really sweet. And Dave, I think probably like a lot of you guys that may be watching this, first started off his journey in learning how to be a better singer by going to YouTube. So what happened was Dave is this great guitar player, never really been a singer. And so he gets invited to play and sing in this duo with another vocalist. They were going to kind of do like a Civil Wars kind of thing, or like a guy and a girl singer while he plays guitar. And he gets invited to sing in this duo. And so he starts to panic because you can honestly say that does not have a lot of confidence when it comes to singing. In fact, a lot of people had told him, dude, like, don't even try to sing. You're just so terrible. Grab the microphone away from him. And, they were just like, he had no confidence when it came to singing. So what does he do? Well, he goes to YouTube and he watches a ton of different, vocal lessons, watches a ton of different singing videos. And, every video that he watches, he's getting a little bit more and more confused. Now, to give you an idea, when Dave first reached out to me, he thought that his highest note was an E4. This note right there. That note right there. Now, he thought that was his highest note. Now, because he thought that was his highest note and his lowest note was an E2, he thought that meant that he's a bass, right? And that sounds pretty typical because the typical bass range is from around an E2 up to an E4. The problem was that Dave had to sing a lot of songs that had higher notes than that. And based on what he was finding, he was like, gosh, maybe this is the best that it's going to get. And so when he first came to me, Dave was all confused and he was like, I've got to audition for this thing. I think I'm a bass and I've got all of this work to do and I just can't hit high notes to save my life. So when he comes to me, he says, Matt, if there's one thing that you can help me with, it would be to sing the song Country Roads. If you guys don't know that song, it's Country Roads, take me home to the place I belong, West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. Country roads. Hey everybody, good to see you guys. I didn't announce this is totally impromptu. I'm just talking about one of my students, Dave. Now, the reason that song was so hard for him was because, if you guys didn't know this already, it has that E4 note in it. On the word I belong, on that note right there. So that's that E4 note that he was like, there's no way that I can hit that. So when he came and took a lesson, he was like, man, if there was one song that I could sing, it would be that one. I would really love to be able to sing that. But the problem was, every time he went to go and sing it, his voice would strain and break into a million pieces again. I belong. I mean, I've got this recording of him from his before, and it's fantastic. It's fantastically how bad it is, you know? And then within, about 5, 10 minutes, I give him a couple of vocal exercises. And before you know it, he can turn that belong into belong. Now, what actually makes the difference? Remember, Dave is 65 years old, right? He's an older guy. He's never had a voice lesson before. For the first time ever, he gets invited to sing in this duo. And so he panics and he starts finding all the voice lessons that he can find online. And he's like, gosh, what do I do? I need to get my voice better. Is it too late? Well, it's not. Because as soon as we work with a couple of silly exercises, we're able to get Dave to start hitting that note much more consistently. And not only that note, but he came in with his highest note being an E4. And he's actually able to sing all the way up to a B4 by the end of the note. Now, and maybe, it may not be super pretty or anything like that yet, but he is able to get up there. And the reason that that's important is because we always want progress, not perfection. I say that again. We want progress, not perfection. So many times when singers come in and they're like, gosh, if there's one song that I could sing, it would be this one. I would love to sing this one. And it's not that they're not able to sing it or it's not possible for them. Usually they just need a simple technique or two in order to help them hit that note. But usually it's just a matter of continuing to practice and continuing to work on it, make sure that it's getting better, but not just singing it over and over and over and over again without ever changing anything, without ever, actually applying what you're learning from the exercises into the songs. Now that's something that is a big topic right there. Who here, by the way, thank you guys all for being here. This is totally impromptu. I did a workshop earlier this morning, but apparently I didn't get enough. So I'm really glad to see you guys as well. And I appreciate you guys saying that I've taught you a lot. It's my pleasure. Now, who here has felt in the past like, gosh, I can sing vocal exercises, but when it comes to singing songs, I have no idea what I'm doing? Who feels that way? Has anybody felt that way? Go ahead and put that in the chat if so. I'm just going to play a little more bass while I'm waiting for people to pile in here. Yeah, awesome. People are saying yes. And I think that that's a pretty common thing, right? It's like, we can sing exercises all day long and we can do, like wonderfully. But when it comes to actually singing songs, there's quite a disconnect. And the same thing was true with Dave, who I was speaking about earlier, who was saying, man, I'd love to be able to sing. I'd love to be able to sing this song, Country Roads, but it's got that darn belong, that Tarzan note in it, right? And so what we find most of the time is it's a very simple 3-step process, okay? And you guys can go ahead and write this down, but this is what I want you to think about. There's 3 steps to mastering a song that you're able to do on an exercise just fine. You're able to sing those, let's say, like a ma 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 ma. You're able to do that. That's up to a G4. Well, there's a lot of songs that have those same notes in it, but you're able to do things on the exercise that you're not able to do on the songs. This happens all the time. All the time. Now, what is the trick? What are those 3 steps to actually improving that song? Well, it's really simple. The first one is stop singing the song for a second and instead go back to a vocal exercise that works for you. So someone give me an example of a song that let's go ahead and make this an open thing. You guys go ahead and put in the chat, what is a song that you've always wanted to be able to sing but have not been able to? Go ahead and put that in the chat. I want to hear it from you guys, okay? I'll give you guys a second to put that in. What is a song that you've always wanted to be able to sing, but have not been able to do that? Now I've got Country Roads stuck in my head. Country road, take me home. This is a song that you've always wanted to be able to sing, but haven't been able to. Go ahead and put that in the chat. West Virginia, mountain mama, take me home. Country roads. Okay, let's see what you guys have got. Okay, best part. Best part's a great example of a song. Paradise Motion. Let's see, Perfect. Dreams by Fleetwood Mac. That's a great song. Amazing Grace. Amy Winehouse, Back to Black. Wow, these are great. You guys have great taste in music. Well, let's use an example for a second. Hold on. One second. I'm gonna bring my acoustic over here. So let's say that we're looking at the example of like Perfect by Ed Sheeran, right? I found a love for me. Darling, just dive right in and follow my lead, right? And then we've got this amazing dancing in the dark, you between my arms, barefoot on the grass, listening to my favorite song, right? So with that song, one of the biggest tricks to me is that when you're starting off that chorus right there, you know what? I want a capo. Hold on one second. Just put my capo over here somewhere. It's going to make it sound better. Oh well, I'll figure that out later. But regardless, I'll just play it in the key of A flat right now. But let's say that you're in the middle of that chorus and you keep breaking on then dancing in the dark. Happens all the time. Dancing in the dark. Now, here's the 3 steps that you want to follow in order to improve that. First off, stop doing what's not working. Stop doing what's not working. Really simple, right? So my voice just keeps breaking on that, on that A flat note, right? Pretty difficult note for a lot of male singers to sing because it's right in between the male kind of first passage and the male second passage. So what you need to do is stop singing the song, then do that same note on a vocal exercise. Now, it's really important that you choose a vocal exercise that's friendly for your voice. All right, so for instance, let's say it's on a na-na-na, like a na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na, or a mum, mum-mum-mum-mum-mum, excuse me, mum-mum-mum-mum-mum-mum-mum-mum. Ooh, I'm gonna need some of this, hold on. Mum-mum-mum-mum-mum-mum. There it is. That right there, people, that is the difference that water makes right there. So you do it on an exercise that works for you. Once you're able to achieve that note, oh, I got it. Okay, cool. Now that you've got it, what you need to do is you need to apply that same exercise that's working for you into the melody of the song. So that's step 2. Step 1, find an exercise that's working for you. Step 2, do that exercise on the melody of a song. So there it is. So mum, 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 mum. Do it on the melody of the song. Mum, 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 mum. You'll notice that I'm adding a little bit of sobby to that. Mum, 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 mum. Personally, that's just what my voice needs today. Allergies are kind of crazy here. So I need to add just a little bit of that sobby to help those notes heal up. Mum, 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 mum. Then, once you've found that exercise, then take that same feeling that you're getting from that exercise and apply it to the song. So I've got that mum, 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 mum. And now I'm going to apply that same kind of cry. Dancing in the dark, you between my arms, barefoot on the grass, listening to my favorite song. Do you guys kind of see what I'm doing there? It's like, stop singing the song for a second. Go and do a vocal exercise that works for you. Then do that exercise on the melody of the song, and then finally go back to singing the lyrics with the same feeling. Does anyone have questions about that? Go ahead and put yes in the comments if that makes sense for you. And if not, let's put some questions in the comments. Try to find that capo. Maybe I'll just try it in the key of G. I found love for me. Darling, just dive right in. Follow my lead. I had love, beautiful and sweet. Darling, just dive right in. Can't remember the lyrics. Follow my lead. Baby, I'm dancing in the dark. Okay, what are the steps again? Step 1, sing it on an exercise that works for you. Step 2, sing the exercise on the song. Step 3, go back to the lyrics with the same feeling. So here they are really quickly. So I'm having a hard time singing that A flat. So I do it on an exercise. I stop singing the song. I do it on an exercise. Mum, 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 mum. Excuse me. Nay, 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 nay. I'm gonna have to do it slightly brattier today because my voice is struggling with these allergies. Let's do it on a na too. Na 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 na. Then go back and do it the same thing on the melody of the song. So, na 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 na. That's the melody of the song. Then finally, do it on the lyrics with the same feeling. Dancing in the dark with you between my arms. So same feeling there. Great. Next question. When I sing, I tend to hiss my S's. How to correct that? Well, you can get right into the vowel. What's an example of a song that has like a ton of S's in it? Can someone give me an example of a song that has a lot of S's? What's a song that has a lot of S's in it? Anybody got one? Not just yet, huh? Okay, so let's just make up an example. Say, what's it? You say, let's just use that as an example. So the word or the lyrics are, you say. So I have this really sibilant S, say. I have that word say that starts with an S. So what do we need to do? Well, we can de-stress the S by going on to the vowels. Vowels are the soul of the voice, okay? Consonants are what give your voice the sound of diction, or give it the sound of being able to tell what different words are which, right? So, but the vowel is the soul of the voice. So when you get into a song like you say, get right into that E vowel. Say. What's the next vowel after the say? A, right? So get right into the A. You say, get right into the A. You don't need a whole lot of S there, just a little bit. Matter of fact, consonants can really screw you up sometimes. It happens quite often that consonants will really throw you off. And a lot of the time what I'll do is I'll just have my students like take out the consonant a little bit, just shave off a little bit. What's an example of another consonant that will be really prominent on a recording? What's another example of another consonant that will be really prominent on a recording? Yes! Miss Black Barbie says P. Yes. P, B, F, K. These are really, really strong consonants that we want to make sure that we're not over-enunciating them too much. You know, for instance, what was the Barefoot in the Grass, right? With the Ed Sheeran song. Barefoot on the grass, I'm listening to my favorite song, right? So if I want to, I can really barefoot. A lot of people are going to do that. But rather than doing that, it's going to be like, I want to get right into the vowel. Barefoot, barefoot on the grass. Now, I just keep a little bit of that B in order to make sure that everyone understands what I'm saying, just to make sure that everyone can hear what it is that I'm trying to sing there. However, the most important thing is getting right into that vowel. So it's like we use consonants for clarity, we use vowels to add emotion and soul. Yeah, I Choose You is another great example of another song. I choose you. Uh-huh. Great examples, guys. All right. I need help breathing. Sometimes I run out of breath mid-song. Gosh, that happens all the time, doesn't it? Well, so here's the thing with breathing for singing. There's a really, really simple breath that you can do. You can check my channel. It's all over there as well. I'm about to release a new video on breathing as well that you can check out. But really, breathing for singing is very simple in terms of you want to make sure that as you're inhaling, the stomach is coming out. And as you're singing or as you're exhaling, the stomach comes back in. A lot of singers will do the opposite. They'll breathe in and they'll suck everything up. But instead, as you inhale, you want the stomach to relax outward. Now, when you say that you're running out of breath in the middle of a song, that happens quite often just due to poor planning, right? Anybody heard that poor planning prevents poor performance? Was that the quintuplet P or something like that? Yeah, and oftentimes what I'll have my students do is I'll have them print out the lyrics, and then what I'll have them do is I'll have them write a little apostrophe mark, kind of like you might do in choir, where they're supposed to take their breath. Let's look at an example of that. Yeah, so let me see if I can. Trying to remember how this one goes. Oh well. Chorus is that right? No, I think it should be G minor. There it is. On a cobweb afternoon in a room full of emptiness by a freeway, I confess I was lost in the pages. Does anyone know this song? It's called Like a Stone by Audioslave. Now, here's the thing about this song. When you're singing the song, there are so many lyrics that all blend together there, okay? And by the way, I'm going to go ahead and just drop a couple of links in the chat. I've got a couple of amazing books that I just published with 150 mini vocal lessons that you guys can use to improve your voice and learn how to actually sing songs rather than just a bunch of crazy exercises. Check those guys out right there. The first one is the male version, and the second one is the female version. Anyway, you can get those today. They started only 19 bucks. Great way to support the channel. So when we're looking at a song like that has so many lyrics that are smashed together, it's about being very, very smart about where you're choosing to take your breaths. So, on a cobweb afternoon in a room full of emptiness by a freeway, I confess I was lost in the pages of a book full of death. I was there so long ago, the sky was bruised, the sun. Can you guys see what I'm doing? Like, I'm having to go long periods of time without a breath. And so instead, what you have to do is you have to make sure that you're taking that breath exactly at the right place. Oh, sorry, I'm getting messages that the link isn't working. Hold on one second. I think I was trying to post too many things at once. Here, I'll put this here. It should be, I wonder if there's a way that I can put a sticky note or something there. Let me know if that works. So that's the male version. Here is the female version right there. Hopefully that works. Make sure. So you have to click, are you sure you want to leave YouTube? And then click go to site. So that should work better. Let's see. I'm going to pin. So I've got, there we go. Sweet. Awesome. So how do you actually plan those better? Well, what you have to do is you have to print out the lyrics and just write in some notation for yourself about, gosh, where am I actually going to take that breath? That way, because I will tell you, the thing that really, really freaks people out is when you're like, oh man, I have so far to go, there's no way I can actually make it there. But when you're actually able to visually see on the page, oh, this is where I'm going to take my next breath, a lot of that anxiety gets relieved, right? Because there's nothing that affects your breath more than anxiety, right? So just making sure that we do that right thing. Oh, great. This link works. Fantastic. So the first one, the one that's posted at the very top, pinned to the top, that is the male version. Starts at just 19 bucks, 150 vocal songs with 150 mini vocal lessons that are going to teach you how to sing actual songs, not just a bunch of crazy vocal exercises, because that is my whole thing. Wanting to make sure that you guys understand that the entire point of vocal training is making sure that you're actually working on getting to songs rather than just doing exercises. Almost everything you'll find on YouTube is just exercises, 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 which makes sense because it's like, what is that teacher going to do? Like dissect every single song for you? Well, no, but I did. I did it in that resource that I listed there. Good. Let's see. I get exhausted while singing. What should I do? Well, I'll tell you something, Vinayak. If you're feeling exhausted when you're singing, there's one of two things that are happening. First off, is that you're choosing something that's too difficult for you, and that's just your body's reaction is telling you, hey, let's choose something a little bit easier. The second thing is that you might just be singing a tough song. For instance, does anyone know the song Mr. Brightside? Coming out of my cage and I've been doing just fine. Gotta be down because I want it all. Started out with a kiss, how did it end up like this? It was only a kiss, it was only a kiss. I mean, it's the same note over and over and over again. But that is actually one of the hardest notes for a male voice to sing because it's at the very, very top of the chest voice. Very, very top of the bottom part of the voice. So we call this the chest voice area. This is the bottom part of the voice. And then we also have the head voice, the top part of the male voice. And then there's a little place where they're starting to transition. Now I call this the dead zone. This is the dead zone because there's very little that's actually helping you sing those notes better. There's very little resonance naturally built into those notes. So what do you have to do? Instead, what you actually have to do is you have to probably do one of two things. You'll either flip that, I'm coming out of my cage, or you'll probably just slightly push. Coming out of my cage and I've been doing just fine. Gotta be down because I want it all. But the goal, of course, of all vocal training is to find that in a very balanced way, in a very controlled way. Coming out of my cage and I've been doing just fine. Gotta be down because I want it all. Great. Can you guys just go ahead and tell me if that link works? Can you just chime in real quick and just let me know if those links are working now? I just wanted to make absolutely sure. I'll put that in the chat again just to make sure. I wonder if this works. I'm going to put two of them separated by a comma. Cool. Yeah, that looks like it works. Okay, great. Awesome. People are saying that it works. Awesome. Check it out. It's a fantastic resource. Only 19 bucks. That will really, really support the channel. I appreciate all of you guys being here. And it looks like we've already got a couple people that have signed on to that. So I appreciate that. All right. So where did we leave off? How to get to low notes. Low notes is such a fantastic topic, isn't it? Well, so here's the thing. Low notes come from, can anyone tell me where low notes come from? Can anyone give me their understanding of where low notes come from? Go ahead and put that in the chat if you have an idea. Well, let's just pretend for a second that your voice is just like the strings on this guitar, right? The thicker the string, the lower the vibration is going to be. The thinner the string, the higher or the faster the vibration is going to be, creating a higher sound. So slow, low, and thick, and then thin, fast, and high. So when we're talking about singing low notes, and I'm probably the worst person to ask about this because I'm such a high tenor. Low notes have always been tough for me. It's like, when other singers can get to like a B flat, my B flat starts to sound a little weird. You guys can hear it here. So it's like, like that F2 really isn't that very good in my voice. But what you can do is low notes really come from a slackening of the vocal cords. So the vocal cords are just like the strings on that guitar. If they're really, really thick and if they're really, really vibrating slowly, that's how you get those lower notes. The problem is, many singers, including what I just demonstrated just there, is that many singers will start to lower their larynx in order to get those low notes in their voice. And you really don't want to do that because it makes the notes sound really bad. So instead, what you can do is you can just do a simple exercise like in E on a narrow vowel like an E. Now that E is going to do two things. It's going to keep the vocal cords closing and vibrating together, but it's also going to help promote a really low resonance. So rather than and dropping my larynx in order to get there, same note that I was on before. So definitely consider trying that first. Now, just understand a lot of people, they're just going to shove their larynx down when they try to hit those low notes. But you're not going to do that because you're working with me now. You're going to be better than that. Awesome. Great questions, guys. Now, to get back to the story for a second, if you didn't hear the story earlier, here are the cliff notes. A lot of singers worry that they're too old to get started in improving their voice. However, I've worked with students of all ages, from very, very young to quite older. And I was just telling a story about one of my students, Dave Stewart, that, he got invited to sing in this duo. He'd never been a singer before. And so he started to panic. He started watching endless YouTube videos and started getting really, really frustrated about how his voice wasn't improving. And so he came and found me, and people were asking whether I do virtual voice lessons. I absolutely do. You can go on my website and you can book one, ramseyvoice.com. But when we started working together, the thing is that no matter how old you are, yes, the voice changes as we get older. Yes, there is a little bit of loss of dexterity in the vocal cords themselves, possibly even some ossification of the laryngeal cartilage and stuff like that. But really what it comes down to, no matter how old you are, is figuring out what that thing is that's holding you back. In the case of Dave, whenever he went up to that high note, remember, he was trying to sing country roads, take me home to the place I belong. Every time he went up to that high note, long, his voice would strain and break. Now, the biggest thing that was challenging him was that basically he wasn't even aware that there was a top part of his voice that he could access. And once he accessed that top part of his voice, that's when he could actually start, de-straining that note. So once I actually brought him up to let's say that B4, that's that B4 right there. Once we got up there, then it's like that E4 doesn't seem so high anymore. And all of a sudden, it really just doesn't feel like you have to push up into it so much. Thank you guys so much for being here. It's really, really good to hear you. I'm just telling some stories about some of my students, and a lot of people felt like they may be too old to get started off with voice lessons, but I want to be the proof that that is not the case. That really all it takes is getting personal feedback and a place to get started. And always remember that the whole point of doing all this vocal training stuff is to learn how to sing songs better, not just sing endless exercises. And so right now, if you guys are interested, you can get enrolled in one of these amazing ebooks that I just put out, 150 vocal songs, all broken down into 5 sections by their style, the melody, the vocal areas, as in chest, head, mix, belt, whatever, the range, and the key takeaways for each song. Really, really fantastic resource that you're really going to want to check it out. It's only $19 to get started. It's a great way to support the channel, and we really appreciate all of you guys being here. Let's see, next questions. Can you tell us something about vibrato? Well, I can tell you lots about vibrato. Vibrato is basically a wavering or a shivering of the note. So if I hold a straight note like E, there's no vibrato in there whatsoever. When I add some vibrato, E, the note is perceived to shake a little bit. It's perceived to have a little bit of kind of like a, a wavering to it. Now you can go too far with that. Yeah, I'm still around the same correct note, but all of a sudden my oscillations are too big around that note. So instead, you want to keep the vibrato, but you want to keep the spins really tight. What's a great way to do that? Well, there's a lot of great exercises that you can try. One of my favorites is kind of a he, like you're saying he, like he took a voice lesson or something like that. And what you can do, or like the word heat, and what you can do is you can walk up the scale saying he on each one, and then on the top one, imagine that you're still saying he, but instead erase the H's. So like this. He. So I'm walking up he, but on that top note, I'm still thinking he, and it'll trick your voice into shaking. He. Great question. Going back to Dave for a second. So, Dave and I worked in that lesson, and he tells me, Matt, like I've never sung that note before. I've never ever sung that before. It's like I'm not even straining to get up to that note anymore. And I was like, well, that's not even the highest note that you sang. We got you all the way up to this B4. You're just talking about the E4 that you're able to sing now. And the thing about that is that he just felt so much more confident once he was actually able to hit that note the way that he wanted to, that he could finally see that there was a little clarity in between the way that songs and exercises work together. Is that anybody else here? Does anybody else like a little confused about, gosh, like, songs are great, exercises are great, but they're completely different. There's no way that they combine. Anybody else feel that way? Yeah, Paul said I started singing at 44, never too old to sing. Totally agree, Paul. Let's see. Someone's asking, which one of your essentials should I get, the male or the female? If you're female, but I sing better at a low range. That's a great question, Gabrielle. So if you're female, so we have 150 vocal songs for altos, mezzos, and sopranos. Altos being the lowest female voice type, mezzos being in the middle, and sopranos being the highest female voice type. And then we also have 150 vocal songs for basses, baritones, and tenors. And there's a little overlap there. So basses being the lowest, baritones in the middle, and tenors being the highest. Now, there's a little bit of an overlap there. Now, what I would recommend for you, Gabrielle, is I would recommend picking up the female version, because it's funny that you mentioned Dua Lipa, because Dua Lipa is in there, and I break down a few of her songs. I think 2 of them, at least one of them. Gosh, 150 is a lot of songs. I can't remember everything that I did for all of that. That was crazy. What a crazy thing that I did. By the way, it's a great way to support the channel if you guys want to pick up one of those. I'll go ahead and put that in the chat again too. Make sure that that's, I can pin this probably. Yeah, that would probably be the best way to do it. Replace pinned. There we go. See? Learning how to do YouTube every day. Been doing YouTube for 6 years now. Anyway, there is a little bit of an overlap between the different voice types, between the females and the males. The tenor songs of the males and the altos of the females will definitely overlap in some ways. However, broadly speaking, there are some kind of tendencies for female vocal songs. Here's what I mean by that. Female vocal songs. Which songs do you guys think? I want to see it in the chat. Which songs do you guys think typically have more range? Male songs or female songs? Not trying to be genderist or anything like that. Just like tell me off the top of your head what you really think. Do you really think that male or female songs typically have more vocal range? Go ahead and put that in the chat. By the way, thank you guys to the people that have already picked up the book. I really appreciate you guys. I appreciate you supporting the channel. That's really, really sweet of you. Okay, great. So looks like we're about 50-50, more or less. We're saying like half the people are saying female songs, half the people are saying male songs. Okay, so it's very close. But after, 150 songs is not, the end-all be-all of all music, of course. But after putting this together, I was really interested to notice that most of the female songs that I looked at had a range of about an octave and a sixth. An octave and a sixth would be the distance from, let's say, a C3 up to an A4. Up there. And most male songs had the range of about an octave and a fourth. Those are of the ones that I analyzed. And many of them are quite large range songs. An octave and a fourth would be the distance from a C3 up to an F4. Now there is a world of difference in between that F4 and that A4. The reason that I say that is because most males are probably going to have a pretty good grasp. Most guys that are beginning and have been working on their voice for a while can get up to the F4 and they can make that sound awesome. But the A4, that's in the beginning of the male second passage, the male second bridge, the male second dead zone, whatever you want to call it. And the reason that that's so tough is because you're basically shifting up towards more of a heady kind of resonance. Whereas an F4 is mostly still kind of chesty. Ma, 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 ma. I'm singing that in my mix, but it's kind of a chestier mix. Then the A4. Ma, 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 ma. Now, I can make them both sound mixy. However, you'll notice that the A4 sounds a little bit more heady, and the F4 sounds a little bit more chesty. Can everyone hear that? Go ahead and tell me if that makes sense so far. Good to see everyone. Hello. Thank you guys for being here. I'm going to play some more guitar while I read your comments. How do you know what number to say with the note? Okay, so numbers and notes are correlated. What the letter is the note name. And what the number is the octave that it's in. So if you're looking at the keyboard here, then this note right here, that's C4. That is middle C. Middle C is always C4. And so if I go any below that, then all of a sudden I'm in the third octave. If I go any above that, I'm in the fourth octave. And then the octaves change over at C, at the note C again. So, I might go up to, man, I've got to figure out this. Sorry to make you guys bounce up and down a little bit. The screen on this has been, I need to tighten it or something like that. I need to take that to the Apple store. So I'll go C3, D3, E3, F3, G3, A3, B3, C4. Does that make sense? C4, D4, E4, F4, G4, A4, B4, C5. So every time that I go up, it changes over another octave. All right, people are saying it makes sense. Fantastic. Awesome. People are saying that they saw the workshop this morning. I'm glad to hear it. How do you sing falsetto without sounding ridiculous? I love that. I love that. Thinking of think of Bon Iver. Holy love is all blue feathers on the flue. Skies from sheets of blue. Need to tune this soon. So think of like the song like Skinny Lover. Come on, skinny love, just last year. Pour a little song we would never hear. My, my. Beautiful singer-songwriter. Sings almost exclusively in falsetto. So I wouldn't say it's about making the falsetto not sound ridiculous. I would say it's about owning it and trying to make it sound right. Great question. If you could give only one tip for a beginner, what would it be? I would say, I'm going to teach you guys something real quick. So the thing, the problem that I see that most singers have is that as they start going up to higher notes, they start to raise their larynx and they start to push for the note. So they're like, So instead, what I want you guys to do is I want you guys to learn the seesaw technique. If you don't know what a seesaw is like this children's playground thing that it's like one long board and it's got like an axle. I don't know what it's called, right in the middle of it. And so one kid sits on one end, and then the other kid sits on the other end, and then they go back and forth, right? They seesaw back and forth. Now, what I want you guys to think about is when you're going up to those higher notes, rather than thinking, oh, I'm going up, instead, I want you to flip the seesaw. I want you to think down as you're going into those higher notes. So rather than, I'm going up the seesaw, I want you to go down the seesaw. I'm thinking down into that high note rather than up. Does that make sense to everybody? You guys want me to sing Into the Unknown, huh? Dang, wow. It's that kind of day, huh? By the way, I really appreciate all of you guys that have enrolled and gotten the 150 vocal songs. I really appreciate it. It's a huge benefit to the channel. Every one of those helps make sure that we're able to, pay the video editor and pay the thumbnail designer and everything like that. Make sure that we're getting you guys the best videos possible. Okay, Into the Unknown. So I think it's E flat, right? Into the unknown, into the unknown, into the unknown. Yeah. I already sang Into the Unknown. That's it. I'm done. I'm done with that. So here's the funny thing about that. That song is easier to sing than singing a song that's right in the middle of the first passage, the male first passage. Next time we do this, I'll make sure to turn on. There's no way to screen share on YouTube Lives, but next time I'll figure out a way to do it with a different service. But here's the thing. Let's just look at those notes. So we're going up here. Into the unknown. So it's C5, B flat 4, and then we have our final E flat 5. Right? Really, really high notes. Now here's the thing about that. It is harder for a male to sing in this area, E flat 4, E4, F4, F sharp 4, and G4 than it is to sing up here. Why? Can anyone tell me why that would be? Go ahead and put that in the chat. Can you tell me why it might be easier to sing way up there than it is in the middle part of your voice? Go ahead and tell me why. Just put it in the chat. What's up, BH? Good to see you, man. Okay, Passaggio, you have to find the middle, mixed voice, because it's not in the break register. It's like right in between falsetto range and normal range. These are all great answers. Pushing chest voice, less control in the middle. Those are all great symptoms. Those are symptoms. Those are the symptoms. They're not the problem itself, though. You guys are talking about, like, it's harder to sing in the passage. I totally get where you're coming from. But why? Why is it harder to sing in the passage? And more importantly, why is it easier to sing up above that? Why is it easier to sing up above those notes? Well, there's basically two main resonances in the voice. Doesn't matter whether you're male or female. Let's just think there's two basic resonances here, okay? You've got the first resonance, you've got the second resonance, and this is the note that I'm singing, okay? Now, when my voice, or when the note that I'm singing lines up really, really nicely with that first resonance, my voice is very happy. Let me give you an example of what that sounds like. What I'm singing here, like, ah, my voice just flows, just feels really easy. And when my voice goes up to this, it matches up with the second resonance. My voice feels very happy. So, just killing it, feels great. But when I'm in the middle, when I'm in between those two notes, that's what I call the dead zone, okay? And that dead zone, you can call it the first passage, whatever you want to call it. There is a place in everyone's voice where all of a sudden I'm singing this note, but there's no resonance on this side to actually reinforce this note, right? Now that is part of what creates the passaggio. That is what is partly creating that falsetto reaction that your voice has. When you go, ah, when you have that big break in your voice, that's part of what causes it. It's not the only thing. There's also a muscular aspect to this too. But that is why singing Into the Unknown gets so much easier at the top there. And by the way, Into the Unknown is one of the songs that I cover in 150 vocal songs. Just want to go ahead and put that back in the chat there too. Great way to support the channel. If you guys feel like checking that out, I really appreciate it. A couple people have already signed up. Thank you guys very much for doing that. You are going to absolutely love it. Next question. Oh, Gabrielle said I'm her favorite person on the internet this month. That's high praise. Favorite person on the internet. What happens when you get voice splinters? Don't know what that is, Cheryl. You're going to have to be more specific. You mean like your voice just breaks? Is that what you're talking about? When you sing, do you like sing down? That's kind of what I was talking about with the seesaw technique that I just talked about a second ago, where it's like, as I'm singing up, I'm thinking down. Into the unknown, into the unknown, so that my larynx isn't too high up there. Great questions. Can you talk about the type of voice? Yeah, absolutely. Doing the ah and the passaggio isn't hard. It's the E that's hard. Fredo, both are hard, no matter what you're singing in the passaggio. As a matter of fact, ah is used by a lot of techniques as an assessment device to figure out, how you're able to negotiate those changes. So I would say any vowel is tough depending on the place. And here's a crazy thing. Ah is going to have more chest in it for longer than E does. E and oo are going to want to change over the fastest. So that's probably why you're having a harder time with that one. So if I sing, I need to make those changes a little faster than if I sang, That's still mostly chest there by that G4. And then once, by that F4, excuse me. And then once I get up to the G, I start making that change towards a headier mix. Great question. Every vowels are different. Okay, let's see. Oh yeah, by the way, I was just gonna talk about voice types real quick because somebody asked about that. Okay, voice types, we've made them up. Thank you guys very much for your donations. Much appreciated. And by the way, if you want to pick up this fantastic resource, you can do that as well. Voice types. So there are 6 main voice types. Now, before I talk about this, you should know something. We made it all up. It's all made up. Every bit of it is made completely up. And it drives me crazy when everybody acts like there's like, oh, look at this note or something like that. You could tell that they're, X, Y, or Z thing. Wow. Now, we made it up even though there are some tendencies that every voice has. Okay? Every voice has specific tendencies. And they're generally, what we've designed is kind of like 6 main voice types. I'll talk about the males first and get started from lowest to highest, and then I'll get into the females. The lowest for the males being the bass. This is the most rare classification of voice besides altos that you'll find out there. Very, very few true basses are out there. And when you meet one, you know it. I mean, their voices are low. Now, I would wager that a lot of people who are watching this probably already think that, oh, I'm a bass or something like that. Most likely, you're probably not. A lot of people think that they're basses just because they can sing really low notes. That does not necessarily mean that you're a bass. What really makes someone a bass is the vocal color, the quality of their voice. So when you hear a true bass sing, you can hear that in the bottom part of their voice, there's just so much resonance. There's just so much woofiness, so much strength and brassiness. And there's an easiness down at the bottom part of their voice that just doesn't exist for the other voice types. Very, very beautiful voices when you find them. But again, they're very rare. I've taught, let me think this through. I've taught less than 10 true basses, what I would consider a true bass. I've taught less than 10, and I've taught over 1,000 students now. Now, the other side of that too is that there's not a lot of bass-heavy singer music out there anymore. It just doesn't happen that often because we glorify high notes all the time now. So it's all about the tenors and it's all about the sopranos. But here's the secret. Even if you're a lower voice type like a baritone or a bass, there is a place for you in music. Even if you're not able to sing quite as high as, let's say, like Bruno Mars or the Sam Smiths or whomever out there, if you make the high notes in your voice sound just as strong and that they're as well trained as your counter tenor parts, then you will still sound absolutely amazing on recordings. Great, so the next voice type moving up would be the baritone. The baritone is kind of the hybrid between the lowest, the bass, and the tenor. Common examples would be John Legend, let's think of some others, David Bowie, lots of great baritones out there. And they're right in the middle there. By the way, in case you're interested, my 150 vocal songs resource that I've got in the chat here, I'll just add it again. By the way, the top link is for the male version of the book, and the bottom link is the female version of the book. That is separated with into thirds. So we've got about a third of the songs are basses, third are baritones, and the top third are tenors. So if you're looking for some songs that kind of like play with all the lines there, check that out. Great, and then the highest male voice type would be the tenors, of course. The Freddie Mercurys, the Sam Smiths, the Bruno Marses, the muscular Bergens, all those guys fall within the tenor category. And I know a lot of people are going to fight me on the Dimash comment and say that he's a baritone, but really, again, all of these voices, we made all these classifications up, first of all. But what you can say about a singer like Dimash is that even though he has a tremendous command on the bottom part of his voice, he really chooses to live his life in the top part. And so that's another thing that you want to look at too in determining your voice type is like, where do you feel the most comfortable? Where does your voice sound happiest? And for Dimash, I could definitely say it's in the top part there. Great. Then switching over to the female voice types, we've got altos at the bottom, lowest female voice type. Tracy Chapman, Adele. Very, very rare voice type again. A true alto is difficult to find. And when you do, again, you know it. They've got that amazing command and just really strong brassy tone in the bottom of their voice. Then in the middle, we've got the mezzo-sopranos like the Beyoncés and the Lady Gagas out there. And then finally, the highest being the sopranos, and the Ariana Grandes, Whitney Houstons, Mariah Carey's. So those are the 6 main voice types. I've got a fantastic resource on my website that you can check out. Just go to ramseyvoice.com / I think it's voice types. And there's even a quiz that you can take, or just do a Google search and go there. And there's a quiz that you can take when you figure out your range and all of that stuff. I really, really appreciate you guys so much for being here. Fossil73 asked, what crossover do you see with proper vocal technique and rap screamo music? It's a great question. Because where does vocal technique fit into a vocal style that is fundamentally unbalanced, right? Which lion someone that will take me? It's like screechy, it's screamo, and then you have high larynx with the rest of it, generally. This is all that I sang during high school, by the way. This is my favorite music. The Used, Strike Anywhere. I love those songs. I love those bands. Well, the place for vocal technique with those groups is that what you're going to learn in a lesson with me, for instance, is going to be bringing your voice into balance, making everything sound and feel really good and really clean and really balanced. And then when you go to sing your song, we're going to do our best to apply some of that feeling of that balance into the song. But fundamentally, there are going to be some notes that you're going to have to scream, and it's not going to be perfect vocal technique. That's okay. Because as long as you have a foundation of good technique, you're breathing correctly, you're not singing with an overly high larynx, you've learned how to sing across your entire vocal range without straining, then you can do this stuff much more safely. Does that make sense to everyone? Does everyone understand that? Great questions. TOG asked which of the links are for males and which are for females. The link at the top is for the male resource, and the link at the bottom is for the female resource. Guys, I'm probably going to answer questions for another, 2 or 3 minutes. Maybe just play some more tunes. See if there's anything that I feel like playing. This guitar is slightly out of tune. Yeah, got it. Learn the rules and then break them. Yeah, I need to write that down. That's great. That's exactly right. Learn the rules before you can break them. Great point. Great point. Well, guys, just take a couple more minutes and answer 1 or 2 more questions. I haven't played this song in a long time. God, this is such a hard song to sing. But this is one of those songs that just whenever I get a chance to sing it, I do it. Why not? If you don't know the band, it's called Gone for Good by the Shins. Untie me, guys, stand about. The train is getting way too loud. I gotta leave here, my girl. Get on with my lonely life. Just leave the ring on the rail for the Wilson Lullaby. Until this tide in lonesome, leave me no phone number there. La, da, da. Hey, Monica, you want to be on camera? You sure?
No, I didn't know you were recording.
I'm live streaming on YouTube right now. You never seen somebody run so fast. Can you close my door, please? That's funny. Yeah, that's the life we live today. You gotta be ready. Gotta be on. All right. Do you need a piano in order to learn how to sing? No, you don't. You don't. Piano, I tremendously recommend it. Piano is absolutely amazing. What happens if I got the wrong link? I'm not sure if I did it correctly. Well, Diane, just click the second link if you want the female version. And if you got the wrong one, just let me know, I guess. But yeah, until your payment goes through, you probably, let me make sure. Let's see. Do I have a Diane here? Yeah, let's see. Got the bare essentials. Looks good to me. But if you got the wrong one, just let me know. It happens all the time. What are your suggestions for improving diction and singing lyrics clearly so people can understand them? Here's the last question that I'll answer, and then I'll run. And guys, again, this is your last opportunity to get one of these fantastic books. The top link is for the males. The bottom link is for the females. So here's the thing about singing. You want to start off by singing as you speak. That is kind of the golden rule. So for instance, I was playing that song. The words are until this turn in my head, until this turn in my head, right? So I say the words, and that's starting on an E4. Tough note for most guys to sing. So you start from the top. Until this turn in my head. You say the words and say them on pitch. Now here's the issue. When you start going up to higher and higher notes, you're going to notice that your diction, your enunciation becomes less and less. Has anyone else noticed that? Go ahead and put that on here. Put yes in the chat. If you notice that as you sing higher, your diction gets worse. And the answer is that it doesn't really matter all that much. Check out this vowel. If I sing E and I sing up to a really, really high note, if I go E, that's not an E anymore. Sorry, guys, it's not. It's more of an I or something like that. But everyone still hears E. That's the important thing. Vowels shift in their sound all the time. They sound totally different in different ranges of your voice. But as long as you're still thinking the words, most of the time, you're going to get your point across. Guys, we really, really appreciate all of you being here. It's really, really lovely to see everyone. Love the chats blowing up. I'm going to go ahead and end the stream again. Remember, check out the 150 vocal songs books that I put in there. There's such a fantastic resource. So many hours went into their creation. And it's a great way to support the channel. Make sure that we can continue doing this and putting out great content for you guys. Thank you guys so much. Bye.